Hello and welcome to the 5 Minute Film Club. And this week I will be looking at
When I first met
1994
Roland Squire, he was a slight, an unassuming character that...
Stop it now. Just stop
Sorry.
it.
Sorry.
The reason why I'm stopping that is because I don't think I'll have a good enough joke by the time I get to review Forrest Gump. Actually, incidentally, another film from 1994. No, instead of all this rubbish, I'm going to get busy living or get busy dying reviewing The Shawshank Redemption. Based on a very short and unusual story by Stephen King, The Shawshank Redemption is the story of Andy Dufresne, played by Tim Robbins, not Ted Robbins, a banker who is sentenced to life in prison at Shawshank Penitentiary for the murder of his wife and her lover, something which he protests his innocence for. However, his story is told to us by another man, Ellis Redding, or just plain Red, played by Morgan Freeman. His lulling tones keep us informed of the progressing 20 years that we spend with these characters, watching their lives and their friendship kindle. The Shawshank Redemption is quite an apt title for this film in many ways. Back in 1994, with its initial release, it didn't do much to actually ignite the box office. It was then re-released the following February, around the Oscar buzz season. Shawshank had been nominated for 7 big Academy Awards. And yet, still, audiences weren't that interested in it. This is not to say that the film wasn't loved at the time. Many critics came out and said what an amazing film it was, perhaps the best film of the year. But it wasn't until the home video market really rose up during the late 90s. And so nowadays, The Shawshank Redemption holds a big place in a lot of people's hearts. Frank Darabont cut his feature film teeth with Shawshank, and what a project to take on. But he obviously has a great love for the source material, and he is able to bring out the best of the Stephen King tropes in the screenplay he also penned. For a film that takes place over a very long stretch of time with a consistent prison backdrop, it is a surprise to me that this film doesn't become boring. A lot can be said for the excellent attention to detail that the art department bring to the prison outfits that match the grey world they live in, equally skillfully photographed by Roger Deakins. Its pacing feels incredibly natural. It's a film that allows us time to live with these characters, learn how they move, the subtleties of their nature. And this film, strangely enough, for Stephen King, is all about subtleties. And so when even the slightest unbalancing of these characters or situation happens, we feel it on a much greater scale. What I also really like about this film is that we are closed off from the outside world. The film starts in 1949 and we go over nearly 20 years, and yet there isn't much social or political history that enters the walls of Shawshank. The cast is masterfully selected. Tim Robbins plays Andy with an inner radiance. He's a tall, gangly man, but he seems to vanish and walk around the yard like a ghost. But actually, he seems to be walking a little bit taller than the others in the prison. This film managed to launch Morgan Freeman's career to the big time, and he has been riding the performance he gives here for years. And, why not? It is stellar. We also get a selection of typically Stephen King villains, people who hold authority, but use it to beat down on the good and virtuous, who you always hope will get their just desserts. The Shawshank Redemption, for me, is like a wonderful magic trick. I love the moment when we peek behind the curtain and see how the glorious climax was orchestrated. I feel like I've been hoodwinked into believing that this film would take me in another direction. The prison backdrop is there just for a setting. It could equally be about anyone suffering from oppression and distance from the outside world. It continues to have a massive impact on what critics and everybody like to call typical Oscar fare, even if this one initially wasn't a big hit with audiences. I honestly don't think that a lot of films that go on to win big at the Oscars even come close to the style in which this film is executed. The finale is a wonderful and redemptive moment for the characters and for the audience, who've been rooting for them all the way. Hello, thank you very much for watching the review. I'm sorry this one is a bit late. I've been having numerous troubles with computers and with camera equipment, but it's here, it's done, it's up. Also coming this Thursday, is my final Jurassic June video, which is all about the women of the Jurassic Park series, both in front of the camera and behind. So I hope you stay tuned for that one. And the film that I will be reviewing next time is... I will be reviewing the 1960 horror film Village of the Damned.